Hello and welcome to episode 23 of In at the Side. I'm Dom Hardman. I'm joined by Scenario Neil, and tonight we're joined by the man who does this. Tonight we're joined by Tim Nanai-Williams. How are you this evening, Tim?
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. Thanks for having me on here.
No worries. Thank you for coming on. So what's life like at the moment with the current situation?
Yeah, it's been a crazy last couple of 7 weeks, and so just been on lockdown with the family, and we've got a couple more days now. So we just found out today that we're free on Monday, next week Monday. So 7 weeks has gone by pretty fast, but it's been good. It's been good being home with the kids, to be honest, and getting to see them every day. But we've also lost a lot of hair in that time. So,
a lot of us have, I think, on the looks of it.
But other than that, no, it's been great.
Perfect.
Good. So have you been keeping fit while you've been off, or have you had club targets to maintain, or have you just been chilling out?
Yeah, we've been told to keep training, so just in case the season was about to start back up again, pick up back again. So we just found out not long ago that the comp's cancelled. So yeah, been staying fit every day. Me and my wife are always doing things every day, and doing stuff with the kids too. It keeps you fit, especially chasing them around. But definitely be staying fit, just in case the season was going to start back up. So but yeah.
Perfect. And have you got any sort of tips of? I know for some people lockdown might be ending soon. For other people it might be extending. Have you got any tips for any sort of grassroots players in terms of what they can do to stay sort of on the ball? Excuse the pun. Stay fresh and keep any skills they can do to keep.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
That's all right.
Yeah, I think what I've found out throughout this lockdown is just utilizing the things that I have around me. So I got a little bit of a backyard, so just doing little micro skills with my kids and stuff. I've got some rugby balls, and you don't really need much to keep the tools sharpened. So I've just been doing a bit of that, bit of micro skills, passing with the kids, and also doing some fitness as well too. So just keeping on top of those little things, I guess for grassroots rugby too. I think it's all the same thing in general, really. So if we can just chip away at our craft every day, you start seeing the rewards, and you start seeing things getting better.
Yeah, in terms of that, I mean, I saw an article today, which I hope doesn't come true, but I mean that something has to change. I saw an article in The Independent that RFU are looking to certainly bring rugby back, but with a few changes. Now, there's mentions of no scrums, no tackles, no mauls. Surely that's just a big game of tag. I mean, how can that work? I mean, would you see that happening? Is that just a pipe dream? That's not rugby, surely.
Yeah, I wouldn't sign up for it, to say the truth, if it was. Oh, mate, I don't even know what that game would even be called. Be touch footy. I don't even think you can touch them too. So by the sounds of it,
yeah, strange, isn't it? I mean, as I say, I'd be amazed if they got it to work, but I don't, like you said, I don't think there'd be many people signing up to it. That's for sure.
Yeah. So on the topic of strange headlines, obviously, before we come on to the chat on your career and stuff, obviously, bit of a headline circulating around certain Sonny Bill Williams and Mike Tyson. I don't know if you've seen that.
Yeah, I saw it this morning. I just bumped over the article this morning, and it's it's something. It's weird, but it'll be something. I don't know if it does go ahead. It'll be good, I guess, for charity. They're doing it for charity, by the looks of things. But
you rate his chances? I mean, I've not seen Sonny box, obviously, but I mean, I've seen Tyson box, and wow, I wouldn't want to step in the ring with him. That's for sure.
Yeah, I rate his boxing, but mate, it's Mike Tyson. So
yeah,
even though I wouldn't even go near him, even if he was freaking 70 years old. He can still throw punches.
Yeah.
So we'll just have a little chat on your career. Obviously, you started over in New Zealand. How did you sort of come into the game initially?
I was just like every other kid, really, in New Zealand. So everyone's playing rugby, so you naturally just gravitate to the game of rugby. So, it's all we ever played as we're, growing up, where we grow up as well too, just playing it on the street and touch footy and things like that. And then, ended up becoming all right at it, really. So
not too bad, I suppose.
Yeah, not too bad. So, it was just rugby was just a religion back home in New Zealand.
Yeah.
And whenever there's a football flying around, everyone's always keen to get on board and play a few games and play a few running up straight sort of challenges and things like that. But rugby was always around.
Now, obviously, you played sort of a lot of under 20s, youth rugby for New Zealand, and then switched to play for Samoa. I mean, what I believe, were you one of the first players to sort of have dual countries or move over countries? What was the decision there?
Yeah, I think because at the time when I was trying to figure out ways to change from, obviously playing for Samoa, was, there was no one else I could turn to and call up and just ask, so what's the deal? How does this go? And I was initially just trying to figure things on run for myself. So, yeah, I'll say I was probably the only one that was doing it at that time. There was a few after, but at that time when I was deciding to change for Samoa was just, World Cup was coming up in 2015, I believe. Yeah, 2015, and obviously, I wasn't in line for the All Blacks, through the years beforehand, and I thought, I've always wanted to represent my, Samoan heritage, especially my parents. So when that came about, where I could go through a loophole through the Olympics, I definitely jumped on board with that, and it's probably the best decision I've ever made, to be honest, to represent both sides. I don't think there's many boys that have done that, so I'm very happy that I have.
You played a lot of rugby for Samoa and Samoa Sevens. Now, obviously, we're a Sevens team, but I'd like to find out. So, which did you find more challenging? Which did you turn your hand to easier? Which is your sort of preferred sport?
Now being a bit older, I'll probably say 15s. Sevens is, yes, I'll say sevens is probably the most toughest game I've ever played, really. So you can ask anyone that's playing the game right now. It's very taxing on the body as well too. So not only you got to be fast and fit, you got to be powerful and strong now, because the game's getting physical now with how they play around the ruck area. Everyone's defending real hard, so I'll definitely say sevens. But I do enjoy my time playing sevens for both countries, and I think that's probably the best place where you could start your career, if you know what I mean, where get into sevens, and then that really propelled me to get into 15s, and the transition was a bit easier for me when I got into 15s as well too. So, because you learn so much, the skills, the mental toughness of the game, and then transitioning that to 15s, and these 15 players on the field, it makes things a lot easier. But answering your question, will be sevens will be the most hardest sport I've played.
Yeah, fair enough.
Playing a bit of sevens makes it a bit easier to transition into international 15s. Is that getting into some slightly bigger stadiums in front of some bigger crowds make it easier as well? Because, obviously, you go from a club-sized ground and stadium attendance to international I can imagine is quite a step up. Yeah,
for sure. I think that really does help you, as you see when you watch sevens in Cape Town and things like New Zealand sevens. The crowds are really wild and things like that, and it does really prepare you, because the crowds do start getting bigger when you start playing, I guess, in higher level rugby. But yes, that definitely helped me, because I was always a shy kid and still am. But I was always scared to play in front of people and things like that. I would rather play in front of the boys where under the street lights. But then you've got a lot of people watching you, not only that, TV as well too. So it definitely does help you on your journey when you getting to those next levels of your rugby career.
And of course, New Zealand Sevens setup is sort of notorious. They use it to blood new players, get them used to playing international standard, rugby in the crowd. Do you think other countries do not utilise their sevens setup as much as they could?
Yeah, I think, like I said before, sevens was a great place to start for me, and I do believe for younger kids. And nowadays, sevens is a fun sport for them, and then the transition will be a lot easier, and that's what I think. But I think definitely other countries should definitely take. We're seeing that it's gone to the Olympics now, and I'm pretty sure that other countries are just gravitating to the game of sevens instead of 15s. So, but it is helping our sport as well in a sense where we're getting a lot more viewers and a lot more people, investors or whatever. Teams in America now since they've gone to Rio, they've definitely got a good comp going over there now, and it's their first year. So rugby's just getting bigger.
Yeah, I mean sevens in America, it seems to be getting bigger a bit, and if they take it as seriously as, or even half as seriously as they take American football, then the rest of us could be in trouble. Certainly, they seem to be putting their time more into sevens than 15s, but it can only get better. And you mentioned that was easier, but in terms of the space you've got, was that a challenge going from having a whole pitch to run around and all that space to effectively, having to run through all these players all the time? Is that a lot harder?
No, not really, to be honest. I know there's a lot more players in the game of 15s, but because I was just coming off sevens, I was quite fit. So, I was just doing a lot of running and just always finding space and things like that, if you know what I mean. Like, I was utilizing my fitness that I had in sevens. I brought it to the game of 15s, and I just found it a bit easier because I could just get around. And but the thing is, if I get clothesline from one of the big boys, it was game over, really. So to put on a bit of weight. So, but yeah, there's not much space, but you end up finding space for yourself because you're just constantly just finding ways to get around these big boys.
Yeah.
So no, I actually didn't really have trouble, to be honest, when I did do the transition. But in saying that, like the game of sevens, where it'll be harder for a forward to probably transition from sevens to the game of 15s than an outside, like a back, any back in sevens. So yeah, what I've seen now, it's real hard for a forward that's playing sevens to transition to a game of 15s because I guess the boys are a lot bigger. But for us backs, we can put on a bit of size, but in the end, it's all about just using your speed and things like that. So, yeah, hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, no, that's ideal. Now, obviously, you played for the Barbarians in the past. How many occasions was it you played for them? Was it
twice?
Twice. Okay.
Yes.
Out of the two teams you played with, name some of the names you played alongside with in those games.
Oh man, I have to go back now. Guys like Colin Slade.
Yeah.
Played with Colin Slade. Who else was there? Just trying to think. There was heaps of boys, really. The Honey Badger.
Yeah.
He was one dude. I was like, I can't believe I'm standing next to this dude and getting to play against him. And he's
is he like how he is on camera 24/7?
Oh, yeah, 100%. What you see on camera is what you get with him all the time. I thought it was just like, just a front he puts in front of the camera, but man, he's hilarious every time. So really enjoyed my time with him, and that's what I've enjoyed about the Barbarians, where wherever we play in the world, we still have those memories with those fellas. I still keep in touch with them as well too. We still got a Barbarians chat when I played in Australia, when we played Australia. So it's quite cool to see some of the boys and still talk to them and yarn to them. So I think that's what the Barbarians rugby is gives you a lot of memories and things like that with the boys.
Yeah. And after a match with the Barbarians, does it get as messy as we can imagine? With lads coming from all different countries, clubs, and all over the world. Does it just get a bit crazy?
Yeah, I think the whole week is pretty much crazy, to be honest. But I think by game time, the boys have just had it because we've just, everyone's just having fun from pretty much Monday as soon as we get there.
Like being on tour, isn't it? Really?
Yeah. It's a different type of tour, though. It's definitely an experience that I'll never forget.
Awesome. Now, obviously, you had a season over in Japan. Was it for Rico Black Rams? Is that right?
Yes.
How was that? What's the setup over there like? I mean, is it up and coming? Is it sort of, what's the situation? How is it compared to other leagues?
Yeah, I was surprised how the setup was, where they're real professional over there. And it was unknown for me leaving home and going to a different club and whatnot. But sorry, my son's here.
All right, no worries. Hello, mate.
Mate.
Yeah, go. Get to bed. Sorry. Yeah, the setup there in Japan was unreal. I didn't think anything of it until I got over there, and just how professional they are and how they run things is something that, I was really shocked to see when I got there. And it's definitely on the rise, especially after the World Cup and how good their team in Japan has done. And I think a lot of players are gravitating to go there now to play because it's they play some good brand of footy over there.
Yeah,
that's good.
And obviously the move over to Claremont, how did that come around? Because obviously that's another massive European club. Did you have plans to go there before we went to Japan, or?
No, not really. It was just good timing for me and my family. When we made the move to Japan, it was all about moving if my family was happy enough to move. And when this came about, it was just great timing. It was a time for, I guess, a new adventure for me and my family, really. And, we're loving it at the moment. So, yeah, that just came about. And, the wife was happy to go to France. So we pretty much ended up over here now. So now we're eating
certainly
baguettes.
Worse places in the world. Certainly worse.
Oh, yeah. Now we're eating baguettes and crepes now. So.
No, it's just I'd be laying off the cards, but I couldn't do it if there was all those nice crepes over there and all that.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, you played for various clubs in various parts of the world, but you obviously played for the Chiefs in Super Rugby as well in New Zealand. Out of all the leagues you played in, which did you find the most challenging? Which would you say the Super Rugby was up there, or have they all got different sort of challenges?
Yeah, they all have different challenges. Super Rugby was just a quick game, a very quick game. High skill, high pace. Japan was quite similar, but sort of not on that level, where it was kind of like sort of between kind of like grassroots, semi-professional type of game over there. And then over here in France, it's the challenges over here, it's just how physical it is. I've always had to make sure when I've played in these countries, I had to make sure, I figured out the game is always different. Yeah. It's not always going to be like how it was at Super Rugby here or as physical in Japan like it is here. But, I always had to adapt in a sense where every team I played for in all of those competitions were challenging, but they were all different type of challenges.
No, that's fair enough. Yeah. And so have you never been tempted to sort of come over to the Premiership? Have you ever to come over?
Well, if they want me.
You heard it here first.
Yeah.
Well, I'd like you to come to Gloucester personally. Just a biased opinion. I'm a Gloucester fan, but, I'm sure Bath would be Dom's choice.
Oh, man. But what I've figured out since I moved here to France and how big the world is and how big rugby here it is in Europe, and I could see how the fans here are just so crazy, like different from back at home or Japan.
Yeah.
Even when we play there and when we play the European Cup and we come over to England and teams there, so it's a different atmosphere, and it's hopefully fingers crossed. Awesome. Hopefully this old body can hold up and
could see you in a cherry and white top before long. Cherry and white Gloucester, you've heard it here. Got a couple of questions we've been posing to a lot of our guests recently with some very varied answers. Right, so I've got a situation for you. You're in lockdown. You've got to be in lockdown for 2 weeks with one player you used to play with, right? Now, you can't go out at all. People are bringing you food. Who would make it an absolute nightmare? Who do you think you couldn't survive 2 weeks with, and why?
Oh, well, I'll probably say Ben Tamefuna.
Why is that?
Just hygiene. Oh, I couldn't.
Brutal.
He is just messy. He is a messy guy, and I can't stand mess. So he'll be one dude I wouldn't want to be in lockdown with.
Yeah, no,
that's for sure.
And to wrap it up, unless Dom's got another question, I was going to ask your sort of dream 15, if you like, from players you've played with in your career. We've been asking this to different guests recently and had some interesting answers. What would your sort of dream lineup be from the players you played with or against?
Oh, dream lineup. That's a big one, eh?
Yeah.
That's
We
big.
like putting people on the spot.
Do you want me to go from 1 all the way to 15?
Yeah, you can, if that's all right.
Oh, wow. I'll go with number 1. Who are number 1s these days? Jeez, I don't even know who's number 1. Joe Moody. Joe.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he seems fun and he's a good player too. Number 2, I'll probably go Kevin Mialamu.
Yeah, nice one.
Number 3, I'll probably chuck me old hygiene mate Ben Tomefuna in there. Number 5 or no 4, maybe Itabeth.
Yeah.
Nice.
Itabeth and Retallick at locks.
Yeah.
6 would probably be Liam Messam. 7, Sam Kane.
Nice.
8, I'll probably have Sam Kane. Number 8, that's a biggie. Number 8 would probably be Nick Williams. I'll chuck the older brother in there.
Could have some experience in it.
Yeah, put the old grey hair boy at the back. Number 9, I would say Aaron Smith.
Blimey, I think this is going to be our best team we've ever had.
Dom, you need to start putting these team listings on like post and play them off against each other. That's great.
Yeah.
Number 10, I'll probably throw Quade Cooper in there. Just a bit of razzle.
Nice.
A bit of razzle there. And 12, I'll probably put Manu.
Nice.
I'll put Manu at 12.
Nice.
13. Jesus. Wow.
Gritty now.
13. That's a tough one. 13. I'll probably put maybe what's his name? 13 plays Stormers. Used to play Stormers. What's the old Stormers captain? The 13. He played for Springboks too. Big, blonde.
Jean de Villiers.
Yes, Jean de Villiers.
Yeah.
I had to play him once, and he is a big man. So, terrifying man. 13, 14, I'll probably throw... I'll probably throw 14... Damien Puno plays here in France.
Mm-hmm.
And on the... Probably Julien Salvier, number 11.
Yeah.
Gotta have him there. And then fullback. Jeez, there's a lot of fullbacks out there.
I mean, you can pick yourself if you really want.
Nah, this is my dream team. Not me.
The thing is that we mentioned this yesterday. Everyone that we've asked to do a team has never put themselves in. I'd put myself in straight away. I'd be like,
nah, I'll probably be like.
That's why you're not a professional now.
Yeah. I'll probably go bench. Number 15, I'll probably put Ben Smith.
Nice. And to manage this motley rabble, who would you have managing them?
Oh, managing us?
Yeah.
Oh, geez, I'll probably be the manager.
Oh, okay.
So I'll probably go manager. I'll go manager for sure.
Nice. And you've got your assistant manager there, I see.
Yeah. You want to be assistant? Yeah. You'd be naughty assistant, eh?
Perfect. Well, thank you very much, Tim, for your time.
Yeah,
we appreciate you coming on the show.
Yeah,
and, hopefully we can get a catch up when there's some rugby to talk about as well.
Yeah, no worries, mate. Anytime. Thanks for having me, guys. Sorry about the internet breakdown.
No worries.
No worries.
Thank you very much for coming on. It's been a pleasure.